The views, opinions, and takes expressed in this program are solely those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or positions of PWPH Studios, Pro Wrestling Philippines, or any of their affiliates. All materials, references, and discussions in this episode are intended for general information and commentary purposes only. Please be advised that this episode may contain strong language and content that may not be suitable for younger audiences. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Stay safe and stay wrestle, everyone. Welcome to the main event, Mark.
Yeah. So, thank you very much for listening on yet another episode of the main event, Mark. And yes, we are officially back. I'm really sorry. I really need to take time. I really need to take time because there's a lot of things going on. And even if I take a lot of this review of this Outlaw Mod shows, hindi ko rin ma-appreciate kung ano yung nangyayari for the past few days. Hindi ko rin ma-appreciate kung paano ba, or what I mean paano ba i-criticize ng tama both WWE and even AEW, because I really need to say this straight up from my mouth itself. Since July, the time that I took a leave of absence on this show, it doesn't mean that I don't want to be active anymore on the podcast. No. Sadyang nawalan lang ako ng gana mag-rant. And November lang ako nagkaroon ng totoong lakas ng loob. Sakto. Totoong lakas ng loob to do all of this shit. No? So, dami natin pwede i-tackle dito eh. So, let me just summarize things. Kasi ayoko nang balikan yung July, no? So, Evolution 2025, I'm going to say very straight up, I think that's my show of the year in 2025. Wala pang makakatalo dyan. So far, at least if we talk about WWE. If we talk about AEW, I'm not gonna pick Forbidden Door or even All In as my best show. Kasi Wrestle Dream already fucked up all of the chances of being chosen as the show of the year. Also, keep in mind that I don't give a flying fuck on everyone who is actually defending both WWE and AEW, because I already mentioned at the beginning of this podcast that both of these products are garbage shit. And I can't believe that I'm saying this, because there's a lot of people who loves to defend the Fed, who loves to defend WWE, who loves to defend AEW, and in the end, you guys are getting fucked up. I really love to share a lot of things here, because sabi ko nga, ang dami kong na-miss na shows, ang dami kong na-miss na mga bagay-bagay when it comes to the wrestling business. And I promise this will be the first time that I'm going to run again a weekly show on this podcast. And I'm going to try my best to do all of this weekly episodic reviews of wrestling. But if my patience is going to blow again these products, then wala akong choice. But okay. So yes, thank you very much, by the way, for listening on this episode of the Main Event Mark podcast. Yes, we are now part of the PWPH Studios. So I hope you're not going to be confused on that. Basically, PWPH Studios is just the network that we used to be. So thank you for joining us on these episodes, and I hope you will be able to join us on our future episodes. By the way, if you're listening on this episode, we might see that our landscape here in the Philippines is not that great right now because Bagyong Uwan is might be or it's already landing here in the Philippines when it comes to the scheme of things, no? So kung pag-obserbahan nyo on the time it was released, we might get the thunderstorm already, or we already got the storm, something like that, by this time that we are already recording this podcast. And as we speak, just to give you an update para lang tayo aware, no, Bagyong Uwan is currently still on waters, by the way. So let me just mention a few countries here or cities as being part of that. So one, meron na silang tropical cyclone wind signal number 4 sa Catanduanes. So as we speak, binabagyo na mga kababayan natin doon. And stay safe for everyone who is listening on this podcast sa Catanduanes. And number 3 sa Aurora, sa Quezon, Purillo Islands, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, sa Abra, sa northern and eastern portions of Sorsogon. Ewan ko ba't hindi ako fan ng pagde-divide ito, no? It's just me. Eastern portion of northern Samar. Signal number 2, there's a lot. So, mainland Cagayan, Isabela, Quirino, Nueva Vizcaya, Apayao, Abra, Kalinga, Mountain Province, Ifugao, Benguet, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, La Union, Pangasinan, Nueva Ecija, Bulacan, Tarlac, Pampanga, Zambales, Bataan, Metro Manila, Laguna, Rizal, the rest of Quezon, Cavite, Batangas, Marinduque, northern portion of Marinduque tuloy, Oriental Mindoro, northern portion of Romblon, rest of Sorsogon, Masbate, including Ticao and Burias Islands, northern Samar, northern and central portions of Samar, northern and central portions of eastern Samar, and northern portion of Biliran. Signal number 1, Batanes, Babuyan Islands, rest of Romblon, rest of Oriental Mindoro, Occidental Mindoro, Calamian Islands, Cuyo Islands, the rest of Samar, Eastern Samar, and Biliran, Leyte, Southern Leyte, Bohol, northern and central portions of Cebu, northern and central portions of Negros Oriental, Negros Occidental, and Guimaras, Iloilo, Capiz, Aklan, Antique, Dinagat Islands, Surigao del Norte, northern portions of Agusan del Norte, and Surigao del Sur. So this is the 11 p.m. forecast. So if you might listening to this, iba na to for sure. Iba na to. And I am just praying for everyone who is listening on this podcast na for sure may encounter nyo itong balitang ito that Bagyong Uwan is already landed, and I think this is in Albay area or Bicol area, I'm not sure on this forecast na binigay ni Pag-asa. Let me just check the forecast now. So Catanduanes, so it's still in Bicol. So yeah, that's the case there. So we already got a confirmation from FPW. I'm really sorry. Looks like I need to adjust my mic, by the way. So mukhang kailangan ko na siyang anong tawag dito? Ibaba ulit. Kasi it's been a while that I am using this type of setup, no? Na naka taas. So by the way, we're just going to give a news because Filipino Pro Wrestling, our friends in Filipino Pro Wrestling, announced that their show tomorrow, November 9th will be postponed on November 9. So event will be scheduled on a later date and will be announced as soon as it's safe to move forward. And then yeah, so it's already been confirmed that everyone was already getting this response, and we already actually got a confirmation. And yeah, I know that's a little bit bullshit, but like what we are trying to say, it's no longer something that we control when it comes to this case, no. It's more on a outside of our control when it comes to this thing. And hindi na rin ako magugulat if this show will be taking place still in November, but no longer on that same day. So maraming salamat din for everyone who is supporting the business. And let's move on now to some business talks. So, Tony Khan, yes, next week na ang Blood and Guts. And I have a lot of things to say. So, I already mentioned on some of my posts, by the way, di ko masasabi na on this previous episode of the podcast, that I am not a big fan of Blood and Guts this year, no? Blood and Guts. So, tingnan ko nga yung card as we speak. So, Blood and Guts 2025 and WarGames. Para walang bias, parehas. Hindi ako fan ng both matches this year. And this is also the first time that we're getting both WarGames and also Blood and Guts at the same month. So this is a little bit ridiculous, but it is what it is. So we will talk about the card in a bit, but let me just say this. I really love the idea of WarGames, no? Or I would say WarGames. I really love the idea of Blood and Guts for sure, no? Pero hindi ako big fan kasi ng magkasabay itong dalawang to. I'm going to mention that very, very smoothly, no? Hindi ako big fan of this idea for this whole thing, no? And then, yes, like what we mentioned, this will be the WarGames. Real format of WarGames is this, no? So, tapos, in-announce din nila na medyo it's going to be fun for sure. And we are also trying to get some sort of justification and confirmation. And then, parang iba na rin kasi yung pakaramdam when it comes to this crooked rules, when it comes to this Blood and Guts. But let me just say this one thing for sure, no? Kasi people are just gonna tell us that ito naman si Angelo masyado bias sa AEW or sa WWE. Hindi. Pero this is also getting ridiculous for sure that we are getting this type of stuff, and we're just gonna be disappointed on what in the fuck are we getting. So 2025 Blood and Guts, yes, it's the first time that we're getting this whole matches as a whole, and we might get the Raw WarGames for men and women. And then let's talk about that in a little bit. Pero here's the card, by the way, for WarGames. And before we move on, hindi ako fan that Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander are both on this match. Because number one, they're not part of the build at all. I'm going to put some exceptions on Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. Pero clearly, Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné are just placed there because wala silang maisip na build about their match. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm not a big fan of that at all. Nah? So, I'm not going to put any double standards there, but it should be 5-on-5 and not 6-on-6. Let me reiterate all of this superstars, so it's part of this match. Jamie Hayter makes sense. Willow Nightingale, it makes sense. Harley Cameron makes sense. The one who pinned Mercedes Moné, or Latina by the way, for this match, for the tag titles. We will talk about titles a bit. And then Tony Storm, Mina Shirakawa, and Chris Statlander. And then we have the Triangle of Madness. For sure it makes sense. Megan Bayne, yes, definitely. Marina Shafir, I understand because injured si Penelope Ford, because yes, she got injured a few weeks ago. Pero technically, Marina Shafir doesn't make sense them on the scheme of things, but I'll let her pass, no? But Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander doesn't deserve to be on this match at all. Let me say that because I don't believe that these two are big factors when it comes to this WarGames or Blood and Guts match at all. The reason why they are part of this match, it's because Tony Khan is lazy to book storytelling for his wrestling shows, and it shows. Earlier this week, we got a proper expose of Dave Meltzer being called by Tony Khan on his Wrestling Observer show, and that's one of the indication that every guess, every hunch that we're getting is actually true. And hindi na rin katakataka because we're getting piece by piece by piece of WWE bad news from Dave Meltzer. He is the only one who is trying to make a spin because it believes that it will be effective for them to do shit on WWE and not for AEW. Trust me, one of these Blood and Guts match is going to get a 5 stars because it's AEW. And definitely that's not the women's match for sure. No? So believe me or not, that's already been justified, no? Pero yun nga, I'm not surprised that we're going to get this match at all. Another match that I think it makes sense for this event, Blood and Guts, is Hangman Adam Page. I'm really sorry, I have to adjust a little bit. Hangman Adam Page versus Hubs, Powerhouse Hubs. I think it makes sense and the sorts of things. I'm not gonna talk about it like it's a blow by blow, pero I'm going to move on to the other Blood and Guts match because I find the Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin match the only thing that's running about it at all when it comes to this match, no? And I don't also find some sense that the conglomeration really matters when it comes to this scheme of things, no? Hindi pa nga tumatakbo ng matagal yung feud between Death Riders and the conglomeration. I know Tony Khan loves to book multi-man matches because that's the only thing that he does. That's why he is being called out questionable booker, diba? Tingnan mo, later this week Dave Meltzer is going to jerk a lot when it comes on this match, and I called it up already. And hindi na rin tayo magugulat if this match is going to be the one is going to get 5 stars because he does. Jerk, 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 jerk. Parang nilalabasan ng tite sa ganyang pamaraan on how he do things. No? Pero I'm going to say this once and for all. Blood and Guts and WarGames doesn't need to be merged or done on the same month. Okay? So let's keep it that way. So let's talk about titles now. So AEW just announced a new championship. So this new championship will be a historic championship, as Tony Khan called it, that will be done also when it comes on how they're actually establishing this whole new championship. So AEW, let me just confirm the source. This from Slam Wrestling by John Powell. So AEW and its president Tony Khan are being criticized for this decision to introduce another championship, and I agree. Last night on AEW Dynamite, Khan announced the first national championship that will be crowned in a Casino Gauntlet match. This is getting gas at AEW Full Gear on November 22nd. But the idea of this match is this championship is going to be defended on AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AAA, sorry, CMLL, Ring of Honor, Stardom, if they can, at saka sa mga partner promotions. I will talk about one of them in a bit. So Tony Khan also emphasized with that live on this promo with Tony Khan, the history of the title said in 1985 we merged Midnight Championship Wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling, and there was a US Championship and there was a National Championship, and these two titles or championships were put together in one match at the Omni back in 1986, and it became the United States Championship that we know now in WWE. And they believe that 40 years nang walang champion, national champion. And some are taking exception and criticizing the idea of a national championship. And now, Mike Mondo, the NWA National Heavyweight Champion, posted on X Discord. Let me be clear. There's only NWA. There's only one NWA. And there's only one prestigious national championship that holds legit lineage and has for decades. So for Tony Khan or anyone else getting confused, here's the legit title with the company it belongs to and the legit national champion. My name is Mike Mondo. So Mike Mondo, just to let you guys know, is Mikey of the Spirit Squad back in these days. And yeah, that's the case there. And Tommy Dreamer on his podcast on Busted Open After Dark also mentioned that at first I thought the NWA had national title. They do, but this is going to be AEW's version of the national title, and it's, you know, on TBS. It's the person that makes the title, not the title that makes the person. Correct. We're always mentioning this on any of our shows, no? Hindi ang title or hindi ang title ang gagawa sa'yo. It's the person who will make the title. Always be. So, in this case, is ridiculous. Also, fans mentioned that these are still both active championships. So any AEW National Championship won't carry any lineage from its past. This is awesome. AEW is the home of dreams coming true. Oh my god. Not another title. How about lifting the prestige of the current titles and making them mean something? Tony, with all due respect, but why the name national when the championship can be defended internationally? You know, we love AEW International Belt and just killed it for no reason. So, I will talk about how this belt is pointless, alright? So, AEW already had an international title with Defend It Anywhere gimmick 3 times. 3 times already. 3 times. 3 times already. I will talk about this in a bit. So, they actually made this a unified title. And then you're just trying to build something that you already established few months ago. This is why I could not take wrestling seriously in 2025. And for everyone who is actually going to dunk on WWE's belts, yes, WWE has a lot of belts. But you need to understand that these belts are only exclusive on the respective shows. And if it was mentioned to be appeared on this specific show, walang authority si belt na mag-appear on the another show unless it's special, unless it's a PLE. That's the only exception. But AEW has a lot of titles. We're not only talking about the AEW titles, we're also talking about the Ring of Honor titles and all of the Mercedes Moné titles. She is about also to get the Impact Wrestling Women's title in just a week from now. I can't believe this is ridiculous, man. Also mentioned being wrestling. I'm not gonna read any of this. Pero one thing is for sure, one thing is for sure, this is ridiculous. I'm just going to say this as of right now. This is ridiculous. So, let's talk about now the current state of the belts in AEW. Okay, let's talk about it. Let me just adjust my mic. So, AEW, when I used to love AEW, they only have 4 primary belts. Okay, so that's the AEW title, the TNT title, the women's title, and the tag titles. That's what we really have to be established, no? So the case here is this, okay? So AEW, they have a lot of belts, okay? So we have the men's championship on how they address it, the men's world championships being held by Hangman Page. The secondary title is Kazuchika Okada, which is the unified championship, which is the international championship, and the what tawag dito? The All Atlantic Championship, whatever the title is. But yeah, that's another championship that we have right now. Then we also have the TNT title, and as I mentioned, the Continental Championship. So parang it serves as unified for some reasons. So it's very odd, no? So the national title is a United States specific title. Good lord, this is getting stupid and stupid. And then we have obviously the Men's tag team titles being held by Brodido. I'm a big fan of Brodido, no? I am a big fan of Brodido, for sure. And I will talk about more of things, or more of these things in a bit. Give me 1 second. So, Brodido. Wait lang. Give me 1 second. So, Brodido. And then we have the Trios Championship. It's being held by the Ops. That was really good too. Then we have ano ba tawag dito? The women's title, obviously. Chris Statlander. Then it's going to be the 50th belt of Mercedes Moné on November 22nd. Then we also have this Mercedes Moné tour, obviously. Plus this tag team titles for AEW. So let's talk about it now. So we have a lot of titles as we speak in AEW, and all of these belts are being carried as it is. Okay, so I have two things to say here. So 3 titles that we have now: the Unified Championship, the International Championship, and then the Intercontinental title, or the Continental title, whatever that is. So that should be retired on TV now. I'm going to say that as of right now. That should be retired as it is. And just retain the Unified Championship, whatever that might be. Okay? So that should be the own case. Okay? So, ang labo. And then we have the national title that should not be released at all. And then the TNT title. So, the more that Tony Khan is releasing these belts, the more that they introduce belts, the more that we are also killing the credibility of another championship. Right? And you also killed already all of these championships. Okay? And to mention as well that you guys are also fucking up with NWA. So that's another thing that we have right now. I'm not gonna talk about it because it's a little bit controversial na. And it was also mentioned a lot by these reporters that this dispute between NWA and AEW is far from over. So let me just try to pull up that news, no? So I'm trying to pull up some news here about that context when it comes to this. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. This is getting ridiculous, man. Okay, give me 1 second. So I'm just pulling up this card of ano ba tawag dito? Itong story na to when it comes to the NWA and AEW, na? So NWA and AEW are having this dispute for weeks now because tinatry i-trademark ni AEW yung Shockwave, even though it's already been used by NWA, and NWA is asking also for a trademark. That should be the case. And then yun, parang basically that's what we're trying to confirm as we knew it. Okay, so and then also just to mention as well, right, parang it's getting odd as well that we are also talking about things that I don't think it really makes sense. So I will talk about the Mercedes Moné thing in a bit, but let me just say this: for everyone who still doesn't believe on what we're saying for months now, na wala ko nung creative control si Mercedes Moné. Screw you guys. I'm going to say this. Because I don't believe a little bit second na wala siyang creative control. I am not going to believe that at all. Mercedes Moné has a creative control on who she wants to fight, who she wants to beat for the titles, and case in point, we have our one of our wrestlers in Southeast Asia, nor the Phoenix Diana, that will fight in ano ba tawag dito, in House of Glory, where they're fucking up with JD from New York. And we are also trying to get some sort of confirmation, right, when it comes to that context. And for sure, Mercedes Moné is going to beat Nor Princess Diana for the title, or Phoenix Diana, I would say.
This episode of the Main Event Mark is brought to you by our friends at Pro Wrestling Philippines, the biggest Facebook wrestling community in the Philippines. You can join the conversation by following Pro Wrestling Philippines on social media at PWPH. Select on Facebook, Instagram, X, former Twitter, and on Threads. Also, support our collective network, PWPH Studios, on social media at PWPH Studios. Now let's get back to the action, right here on the Main Event Mark, presented by PWPH Studios.
Yun. I'm not gonna talk about it. Fit. Ayun. So, let's move on na in the bit, no? So, we have Saturday night's main event. Hindi ko nagagawa ng review ibang shows because that's a little bit bullshit. And it was a waste of time to talk about the last show in AEW Wrestle Dream. So, I'm not gonna talk about it at all, okay? So, here's the case na we need to confirm, okay? So, bram 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 bam 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 bam. Give me 1 second. So, Cody versus Cody versus Drew McIntyre. So, Cody defeated Drew yet again in a match. If Cody beats the living hell of the referee or getting disqualified, he will lose the championship. Cliche. So, they basically written off Drew based on this week's SmackDown. So, that's a little bit it is what it is. And then there's a lot of things then that needs to be confirmed on that. And apparently he was written off, no? He was written off this week's SmackDown to be able to do some tapings of his upcoming film, no? For Drew. So the match between Drew and Cody, I think that was a really good match. I don't think this will end the feud between them, even with Aleister Black match earlier on SmackDown. I don't think that will be the last thing. Okay, so that's the case there. Oh, sorry about that. Hindi ko talaga ako sanay magkumamit na itong shock mic ko. So siguro I'm just gonna adjust this one. Give me 1 second. Malikot talaga ako mag-record eh. Pasensya na guys, ha? So, let's continue. So, we have Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. I think this is the best performance na meron si Jade so far in the WWE. Really good performance, I would say. We don't need a long match. We don't need a shorter match. But this is how we need, or what we need on exposing Jade on television. And I think that's a really good presentation on how Jade Cargill should be booked on this type of matches. I don't care if this is going to be longer. This should be a short match, but this should be how, or this should be the way on how Jade Cargill is going to be booked on television. Okay, so other than that, I don't think there's a lot of ways on how we can book Jade Cargill on this type of matches then, or kung ano bang context on how we will be able to book Jade Cargill in a better type of matches, or this case on this type of scheme, or kung paano ba natin bibigyan ng masyadong magandang context itong mga matches ni Jade, right? But I think that was a really good match. I think it justifies the point on how Jade should be booked moving forward. It just depends on how it will be justified by people who is watching the product. And yeah, that was a really good match, and I think that it makes sense on how she were able to work out Jade all throughout, or Tiffany all throughout. Then we have the three-way between Dominic, Penta, and Rusev. That was a really good match. Dom is Dom, walang bago, but that was a really good match. Dom is absolutely reckless, really good way. Okay, so let's talk about this. So John Cena versus we're going to have a tournament starting next Monday, where the winner of the 16-man tournament will fight John Cena on Saturday night's main event. Alright, so that should be the case, and I know that's a little bit spoiled that Gunter's going to be the one who will fight John Cena, but I hope that's not the case. Alright, so then the main event. So main event, we have CM Punk and Jey Uso. I'm impressed with Jey here, to be honest. The match is really impressive, and I would say that's a really good match that we got from CM Punk and Jey Uso. On how this match was getting booked, that's justified. Alright, so wala na rin choice at this point. Seth got injured, walang choice. We really need to make a shortcut of Punk becoming champion in the process. Alright, so that was really good. I cannot wait to see more of that in our next show sa December, and I hope this will not be paywall. Utang na loob, wag nyo lalagay ito sa paywall. Then let's talk about Raw. Now, Raw, like what we mentioned, Logan Paul actually turned on CM Punk in a way that it was established as a trap. Trap ba? Oh, it's in a way na trap on how they were able to execute this reversal. And they actually teased that Logan Paul is about to join the WarGames, or about to join the Bishop, right? So that was a really good match in my opinion, and I believe also that that was the best thing that we got when it comes to the CM Punk thing, right? And then CM Punk was able to justify his point on not fighting Logan Paul for the title. And we also believe that Braun Breaker is the one who is going to beat CM Punk for this belt, maybe at WrestleMania or earlier pa, no? So that's the case there. And then we also have this stuff again. I really love Nikki Bella and Stephanie Bagheera's partners here, but for sure we're also going to get a turn between Nikki Bella and Steph. And Roxanne Perez is amazing in the ring. If there's a MVP that I'm going to choose for this NXT call-ups in 2025, that's definitely Roxanne Perez, second Lyra Valkyria. Really good wrestlers. So, not really talking about the match as a whole, but Nikki Bella, I would say she still got it. Really good match. Okay, so that should be the case. Okay, and we're also trying to set up this failure that she's trying to get, and then yeah, we're about to see her turning on Stephanie, setting up for this bout as a whole. So I'm not going to talk about the Raw remaining parts, but I really need to mention Kairi Sane and Asuka are just amazing as hell. Really good, amazing as fuck. Okay, so I believe we are able to drive some stories on Raw, unlike on SmackDown. SmackDown is garbage as fuck. So I'm just gonna mention two things on SmackDown. So one, Cody and Aleister Black feuding for the belt. That's a really good move to me, if you ask me, no? So I hope we can see more of that. And I really love Ilya Dragunov and Johnny Gargano match, right? So this open challenges that we are getting from Ilya Dragunov are just amazing as hell. Amazing. I really love it. So honorable mentions that we are getting here. So Nia Jax is now aligned with Last Legend. I think that was really good in my own opinion. But in my personal opinion, we don't need to see both Nia Jax and personally, we don't need to see Nia Jax and Last Legend as duo, but I hope that will work, no? So that should be the case there. And then we need also to mention that Chelsea Green defeated Julia for the new United States title, and they also have the AAA mixed tag team titles, and it appeared already on the television as well in the process, right? So I'm not gonna talk about the other things that we have here on the show, but to mention also that Dick Aldis suspended Drew McIntyre, like what I mentioned earlier, due to that situation. So we also have a few things to say about NXT and AEW again. So let me just start with the match that I absolutely love. Sorry, let me just adjust my mic again. So let me just mention here, I really love Kelani Jordan's growth as a heel. So far, that was really good. Kelani is getting booed mercilessly by this crowd. I think that was really good. And she is also pulling up some double standard points, no? And she's getting booed on the same match that we got, right? So Jordan mentioned that the crowd only cheers for women with big butts and catchphrases. That was good. That was really good. That was really good. Very good as fuck. Okay. So, ano ba tawag dito? So, not to mention also that Stephanie, amazing in my own right? So, we also have here Blake Monroe appearing. So, we might have a ally for her that will be announced next week. So, that was a really good match for me. I hope Jordan, si Kelani Jordan, I hope we are getting something new on her, no? We just need to get something more when it comes to this match, and I hope we can get more something with Kelani Jordan as well when it comes to her gimmick, right? So, to mention also, again, I really love the celebration then between Chelsea Green and Ethan Page that was ruined by Thea Hale and Joe Hendry, that was really good. I agree, that was really good, and that set up for the match at NXT Gold Rush. So AEW, we have this Dynamite. Again, I'm not gonna mention everything. So that was an upset. So Mercedes Moné and Tina actually lost to the Babes. Hindi ko tanda yung pangalan ng team nila. I'm really sorry. Okay, so let me just straight into that. Kasi hindi talaga ako fan. The Babes of Wrath. Okay. So I think this match between the two of these teams are really good. That was very good in my own right. Okay. So Athena and Mercedes Moné is going to fight eventually for the Ring of Honor title, and that's the belt number 16. And yes, we're still on the counting part of this belt collecting title thing that we have between Mercedes Moné and Athena. Okay, so that's the case there. And then yon, like what I mentioned, I don't like the national title. There's a lot of bullshit that we have here, and yeah, parang wala naman akong kailangan masyadong kailangan dikdikin when it comes to this whole show, because I don't really like it that much on what we actually got on this whole damn show, right? So ano ba? Wala naman masyadong kailangan itakal dito. The main event though was really strong, really solid. So that's end of that. I am really looking forward to see how Blood and Guts will go. I hope we can get a lot of things next week as well on television, and I'm really looking forward for more matches that I'm absolutely going to love in the next couple of days or weeks from now, because WarGames na nga pala sa susunod na linggo. So with that said, thank you very much also for listening on this episode of the Main Event Mark podcast, and thank you also for joining us today on this show. So stay safe, stay wrestle. I'm just going to hand over this whole thing to our new team for the formal ender of this show. Thank you very much for listening on this show. Bye for now.
And that's a wrap. You've been listening to the Main Event Mark powered by PWPH Studios, a Pro Wrestling Philippines collective production. Catch every episode anytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Stay connected and join the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, and Threads. Just search at Main Event Mark PW. Want to show your support? Visit patreon.com/maineventmarkpw and be part of the movement. Don't forget to check out our mothership, Pro Wrestling Philippines, across Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, Reddit, and on Patreon at PWPH Select. This is PWPH Studios, a proud member of the Pro Wrestling Philippines Collective. Follow the network on social media at PWPH Studios. On behalf of Angelo Panera, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe and stay wrestle, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Main Event Mark powered by PWPH Studios. The views and opinions expressed during this episode are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of PWPH Studios, Pro Wrestling Philippines, and its affiliates. This content is intended for informational and commentary purposes only. If you found this podcast helpful, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Stay tuned for more episodes, and as always, we appreciate your support. The Main Event Mark is brought to you by PWPH Studios, a Pro Wrestling Philippines collective production. All rights reserved.